Hello again, Prairie families and students. This is Doug Wheeler, Superintendent of Schools. I'm attaching another brief video to this week's update. Again, I wanted to remind everyone our communication strategy is to communicate with you when we have new items to share. However, the frequency of formal communication such as this will be at least weekly during the closure. We know that our families are dealing with a great deal of stress and information from all angles right now, so we hope that this communication strategy allows you to be able to separate what you need to attend to with new information from previously communicated information. Our focus again is on accuracy. We will be realistic in our communication. We will not communicate in a way that either provides a false sense of hope or a false sense of concern in an already anxious period of time. We're continuing to work on ways to strengthen our outreach, and we're finding answers from the state and local authorities each day that's shaping our response and will continue to shape our response. We're appreciative of these efforts, and sometimes we're finding out in real time with our families new information and then working to respond to those. So we're working very hard to try to maintain a high level of communication and a high level of quality during this closure. I want to take a moment and introduce families to some successes of this past week, some happenings in the district. Last week we were technically on break, so we used this time to plan for our response during this closure. This week all staff returned from break and the focus has been on actioning these plans. Our focus this week has been to create a district-wide vision and of outreach efforts and learning opportunities as we move through this closure in the next few weeks. Tuesday, we began our satellite meal program at various locations in the community. This was a program that we not only had to mobilize, but also get initial approval from the federal government for. So very speedy response there. I'm so proud of our nutrition department and the staff volunteers who've been helping with these efforts. Today, we served over 1,100 people breakfast and lunch. It is important to note that we are all hurting in this crisis. People are losing their jobs and financial stability is definitely uncertain. You do not have to qualify for these meals based on income. These meals are for all children under the age of 18, regardless of income level. Please take advantage of this meal program. Additionally, at each meal site, we're handing out printed learning packets to supplement the learning that teachers are reaching out to your students and you with during this time. The focus with teachers this week has been to work on plans for outreach to students and contacting each student in our district. We are still waiting on some guidance from our State Department of Education related to how extensive our virtual and home learning opportunities can be. But this week's focus is on getting opportunities out to students and contacting students and families individually. These contacts will be crucial in our continued efforts to ensure students have access to learning during this closure as we continue to receive guidance and continue to push for more learning opportunities. For parents, we're also aware that this is a stressful time for you, so we've tried to shape these opportunities in a way that's manageable for you as you support your child's learning at home over the next couple weeks. Our ECC continues to operate, and I want to thank our ECC staff for their continued work with students and extra work it takes to keep the daycare safe and sanitary with all the new guidelines for sanitary conditions. We're in the process of connecting with those in need of care who work in essential positions related to this crisis. I want to stress that none of these plans for outreach, communication, meal service, or other strategies existed prior to March 16th. I'm so proud of our staff at every level for their work in mobilizing this response. It's been overwhelming to see our staff and to be with them in this time and see how they've really come together around the needs of our students and our families. Students and families, you are still and will continue to be in our thoughts and at the center of our action. As families visit our meal sites, there's a mix of smiles and tears. We know that you miss school, and we definitely miss you and miss being with you. We will get through this together, and I'm more confident of that each day as we see the reaction at our meal sites and we see the needs that our parents and our students have. I want to take a special note to the class of 2020 who were born in the shadow of 9/11 and who are having their K-12 experience bookended by this terrible situation. This is not the senior year you expected or the senior year you deserved. We will continue to work to mitigate to the greatest extent possible these events and how they're shaping your experience in your final months at Prairie. We've not yet canceled any major events in May, and we'll look to the developing situation in the coming weeks to inform our decisions on these events as we approach April. You have been patient beyond expectation, and I want you to know the entire Prairie community is pulling for you. There's a lot of teachers and administrators pulling for you. We want to get back to normal. We want to give you that end to your Prairie career that you desperately deserve. The update attached to this video message is organized to give updates around our 3 operational priorities during the school closure. Please take a moment to read this update after listening to this brief message. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, keep your hearts and minds open and active during this difficult time. Thank you for listening.